You might think you're eating right, cutting back on desserts, skipping sugar in your coffee, saying no to cake. But what if I told you that some of the most dangerous foods for people with diabetes aren't sweets at all? In fact, they're foods that look healthy, comforting, or even necessary. They sit quietly on your shelf, in your fridge, and on your dinner table. The danger isn't loud or immediate. It creeps in slowly, damaging your kidneys without warning, until the symptoms become too loud to ignore. Your kidneys are your body's filters. They remove waste, balance minerals, and help control blood pressure. But when blood sugar runs high too often, those filters become swollen, irritated, and damaged. And here's the catch. Not all of that damage comes from sugar itself. Certain foods break down into glucose quickly, while others carry hidden threats like phosphorus or sodium. For someone living with diabetes, these foods act like sand in a machine, wearing down the kidneys little by little, day by day. What makes it worse is that many of these foods are part of everyday meals, especially in American households. Some are even recommended in popular diets or praised for their natural benefits. But when it comes to diabetes and kidney health, appearances can be deceiving. While people focus on avoiding candy or soda, the real threats may be the sandwich you eat for lunch or the seasoning in your soup. These so-called safe choices quietly put stress on organs already working overtime. This video isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you. Once you understand how certain foods affect your kidneys, you can start making smarter, safer decisions. It's not about cutting everything out. It's about knowing what to avoid, what to limit, and what to replace. Especially after age 60, protecting kidney function is key to staying independent, active, and healthy. And that protection starts at the grocery store, on your plate, and in the small choices you make every day. So let's walk through the 7 foods that silently destroy diabetic kidneys. Some of them might surprise you. Others might be in your kitchen right now. But don't worry, it's never too late to make a change. Let's begin with a food group most people think is completely harmless fruit. But not just any fruit. We're talking about the kind that's sweet, sticky, and far more dangerous than it looks. Number 7, dried fruits and very sweet fruits, like raisins, bananas, mangoes. At first glance, a bowl of colorful fruit seems like the healthiest thing you could eat. After all, we've heard it all our lives, eat your fruits, they're good for you. But for someone managing diabetes or trying to protect their kidneys, this innocent-looking snack could be hiding a dangerous secret. Fruits like raisins, bananas, and mangoes are loaded with natural sugars. Yes, the kind your body still has to process like any other sugar. That sweetness can send your blood glucose skyrocketing, even if you didn't add a single teaspoon of sugar. Raisins are especially tricky. Just one small box of raisins contains more sugar than a glazed donut. And because they're small and easy to snack on, you may find yourself eating several servings without realizing it. Your pancreas struggles to keep up, and if your kidneys are already under pressure from diabetes, these sugar bombs only make things worse. Natural sugar is still sugar. When you eat dried fruits, you're basically concentrating that sugar into a smaller, more dangerous bite. Now think about bananas and mangoes, tropical, sweet, and often seen as energy boosters. But for someone with diabetes, these fruits can be like pouring syrup into an already overworked engine. The kidneys act like filters, and when blood sugar stays too high, those filters get inflamed and damaged. Over time, this inflammation scars the kidneys, making it harder and harder for them to do their job. It's like trying to rinse dishes with a clogged sponge. It just doesn't work the way it should. What's most surprising is how fruit gets a free pass in most people's diets. There's this widespread belief that because something grows on a tree or comes from nature, it must be good for you in any amount. That's simply not true. Portion control becomes essential, and some fruits may need to be avoided altogether. It's not about fearing fruit, but about understanding which ones are safe in moderation and which ones are silently spiking your sugar and stressing your kidneys. So, next time you reach for a handful of raisins or slice up a ripe banana, pause for a moment. Ask yourself if this healthy choice is really healthy for your body. Just because it's natural doesn't mean it's harmless. When it comes to kidney health and diabetes, even nature's candy can come with consequences. And unfortunately, the damage often builds quietly until it's too late to reverse. Number 6. Whole-fat dairy products like milk, yellow cheese, butter. For decades, we've been told that milk does a body good. It's associated with strong bones, childhood memories, and comfort foods. But for older adults with diabetes, especially those worried about kidney health, whole-fat dairy can quietly become a major threat. These foods are high in saturated fat, which contributes to inflammation, and even more importantly, they contain large amounts of phosphorus, a mineral that becomes toxic when kidneys start to weaken. What used to be nutritious can become harmful once the body's filtration system is compromised. Milk, cheese, and butter don't just contain fat. They're also surprisingly rich in phosphorus additives, especially in processed forms like American cheese or spreadable butter. In a healthy body, kidneys filter out excess phosphorus. But in people with diabetes or reduced kidney function, that phosphorus builds up in the blood. Over time, this leads to itchy skin, weakened bones, calcified blood vessels, and eventually heart problems. The danger here isn't immediate pain. It's the long-term, silent burden placed on the kidneys, one glass or slice at a time. What's especially tricky is how deeply dairy is woven into American meals. A slice of cheddar on a sandwich, a splash of milk in your morning coffee, a comforting grilled cheese dinner. It all adds up. These aren't occasional indulgences. They're part of daily life. And many seniors grew up believing that dairy was essential. Changing that belief can feel like breaking a lifelong habit. But when you understand the risks, those familiar foods don't look so harmless anymore. Some people think switching to low-fat versions is enough, but the real concern goes beyond fat content. Phosphorus and sodium are often added to dairy products during processing, and they're not always listed clearly on nutrition labels. This makes it even harder to know how much you're really consuming. For people managing diabetes, that's a dangerous guessing game. And when you consider how many meals include cheese, cream sauces, or butter-based spreads, the exposure becomes even more serious. The good news? There are safer alternatives. Unsweetened plant-based milks like almond, oat, or rice milk often contain far less phosphorus. Just make sure they're not full of added sugars or unnecessary additives. Nutritional yeast can replace the flavor of cheese in some recipes, and olive oil makes a heart-healthier substitute for butter. You don't need to give up all comfort. Just make new versions of it. Because when your kidneys are already doing double duty, every meal can either help them or push them one step closer to failure. Number 5. White bread, white rice, and refined pasta. They're staples in most American kitchens. Soft white bread, a bowl of steaming rice, a comforting plate of spaghetti. These foods feel familiar, safe, even essential. But for people living with diabetes, especially those over 60, these refined carbohydrates are anything but harmless. Once eaten, they break down quickly into sugar, flooding the bloodstream with glucose. That sudden spike doesn't just challenge your insulin. It puts your kidneys under enormous pressure. Every time it happens, it chips away at their ability to function. Unlike whole grains, refined carbs have had their fiber stripped away. That fiber is what normally slows digestion and keeps blood sugar steady. Without it, the body digests these foods rapidly, like kindling on a fire. Blood sugar rises sharply, forcing the kidneys to filter more waste more often. Over time, that overwork leads to scarring inside the kidney's delicate filtering system. It's like running a fragile sponge through mud over and over. It won't stay clean or effective for long. Many people assume that because white bread and rice are so common, they can't be that bad. But common doesn't mean safe. In fact, these refined grains are among the top contributors to high glycemic loads in the American diet. Pair them with other processed foods, like sauces, meats, or cheese, and you've got a blood sugar bomb that's hard to control. Worse yet, many seniors eat these foods daily, sometimes at every meal. That repetition creates a constant assault on both blood sugar and kidney function. The danger here isn't just in the sugar surge. Refined grains lack the nutrients that protect your body, things like magnesium, B vitamins, and antioxidants. So not only do they raise glucose, but they also leave the body more vulnerable to inflammation and oxidative stress, both of which damage kidney tissue. It's a double hit, empty calories that work against you in more ways than one. And yet, because they taste familiar and are often easy to chew or digest, they remain a go-to for many older adults. But there are better options. Switching to whole grains, like quinoa, brown rice, oats, or sprouted grain bread, can make a huge difference. These foods release sugar more slowly, support kidney health, and help reduce the long-term complications of diabetes. The transition may take time, and it might not taste the same at first, but your body will feel the change. And your kidneys, quietly fighting to keep you balanced, will finally get the support they need, not the silent attack they've been enduring for years. Number 4. Sodas, including diet versions. There's something about soda that feels harmless, refreshing, bubbly, part of everyday life. Whether it's regular cola with your lunch or a diet soda to cut the sugar, millions of people reach for these drinks daily without a second thought. But for people with diabetes, and especially for older adults trying to protect their kidneys, soda is one of the most deceptive enemies on the shelf. Regular sodas hit your system with a massive dose of sugar, while diet sodas come loaded with chemicals and additives that silently strain your kidneys in different, but equally harmful, ways. Let's start with the obvious. Regular soda is liquid sugar. 1 can of cola contains nearly 40 grams of sugar, more than your body needs in an entire day. That sugar rush forces your pancreas to produce insulin quickly. But if you're insulin resistant or diabetic, the glucose remains in your bloodstream longer. High blood sugar damages blood vessels inside the kidneys, and repeated spikes create long-term inflammation. Eventually, those tiny vessels thicken and scar, reducing the kidney's ability to filter waste efficiently. The damage doesn't hurt right away, but it builds like rust on a pipe. Now here's where it gets trickier: diet sodas. They may be sugar-free, but they're not risk-free. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin have been linked to changes in gut bacteria, insulin response, and increased cravings for sweets. More importantly, many diet sodas contain phosphoric acid, a preservative that gives the drink its tangy bite. This acid is high in phosphorus, which, when consumed in large amounts, overwhelms the kidney's ability to excrete it. Over time, this excess phosphorus contributes to calcium loss in bones and hardening of blood vessels, a dangerous combination for anyone with kidney concerns. One study even showed that people who drank 2 or more diet sodas a day had a significantly higher risk of kidney function decline. That risk increases with age, especially in individuals already managing diabetes or hypertension. Think about it. You're trying to be good by avoiding sugar, but in reality, you may be swapping one poison for another. And because diet sodas don't raise blood sugar, people assume they're safe, drinking them daily without knowing what they're doing to their kidneys on the inside. The solution isn't to switch to fruit juice, which is also high in sugar, but to rethink how you hydrate. Water, plain, mineral, or infused with lemon or cucumber, is always best. Herbal teas, unsweetened iced tea, or sparkling water with a splash of real citrus can offer the same refreshing feeling without the kidney damage. Once you stop drinking soda for a while, your taste buds adjust. What once seemed bland, like water, starts to feel clean, calming, and satisfying. And your kidneys, which work 24/7 without complaint, will quietly thank you with better performance and less inflammation. Number 3. Ultra-processed foods like instant noodles, nuggets, fast food. They're quick, cheap, and tasty. That's the dangerous appeal of ultra-processed foods. Whether it's a cup of instant noodles, a microwavable frozen dinner, or a drive-through chicken nugget meal, these foods have become everyday solutions for people who are busy, tired, or simply trying to make ends meet. But behind the convenience lies a deadly trio: sodium, chemical preservatives, and unhealthy fats. For people with diabetes, especially those over 60, these foods quietly accelerate kidney damage every single time they're consumed. Instant noodles, for example, often contain more than 800 milligrams of sodium per serving, and many people eat the whole package, which doubles that amount. Excess sodium raises blood pressure, which puts extra strain on your kidneys. Over time, high blood pressure damages the tiny blood vessels inside the kidneys, making it harder for them to filter waste. When you add the dehydrated, chemical-rich flavor packets that come with these products, you're giving your kidneys a double dose of stress in one sitting. And unfortunately, many older adults rely on these products because they're cheap and easy to prepare. Fast food is no better. Burgers, fries, processed meat patties, and fried items are often loaded with trans fats and refined oils, which promote chronic inflammation throughout the body. That inflammation doesn't just affect joints or blood sugar. It quietly erodes kidney tissue. Add in preservatives like nitrates, phosphates, and monosodium glutamate, MSG, and you've got a chemical cocktail that overwhelms your already taxed kidneys. These ingredients are designed to enhance flavor and shelf life, not to support your health. And yet, they become normal parts of the American diet. Another hidden problem is the way these foods affect your metabolism. Ultra-processed meals are low in fiber and essential nutrients, meaning your body burns through them quickly and is left wanting more. That leads to frequent overeating, blood sugar spikes, and even more stress on the kidneys. When your diet is dominated by these foods, your organs are constantly reacting to damage instead of performing their natural roles. It's like trying to run a marathon while bandaging wounds at the same time. You simply can't keep up for long. Replacing ultra-processed foods doesn't have to be expensive or complicated. Simple meals made from real ingredients, like a boiled egg, a bowl of beans, fresh vegetables, or homemade soup, can be just as quick and far more healing. Even small swaps, like choosing fresh over frozen or rinsing canned beans to reduce sodium, can add up. Your kidneys are resilient, but only if you give them the chance to recover. The sooner you start removing these chemical-loaded foods from your plate, the longer your kidneys will be able to serve you well. Number 2, processed meats like ham, bacon, sausage, salami. They're salty, savory, and full of flavor. Breakfast favorites like bacon, sausage, and ham have become staples on the American table. But what most people don't realize is that these processed meats are among the worst offenders when it comes to kidney damage, especially in people living with diabetes. What makes them so dangerous isn't just the fat content. It's the high levels of sodium, phosphorus, and chemical preservatives that turn these meats into ticking time bombs for your kidneys. Each bite may seem small, but over time, the impact becomes enormous. Processed meats are loaded with sodium because salt acts as both a flavor enhancer and a preservative. A few slices of deli meat or a single sausage link can contain more sodium than your body needs in an entire day. This excessive sodium intake raises blood pressure, which is one of the leading causes of kidney disease. Elevated blood pressure puts direct stress on the tiny vessels inside your kidneys, eventually causing them to harden and narrow. And once these vessels are damaged, the kidneys can no longer filter blood efficiently, leading to a dangerous buildup of toxins. But sodium isn't the only issue. These meats also contain phosphorus-based additives that are absorbed quickly by the body, much more quickly than the natural phosphorus found in whole foods. For people with healthy kidneys, this might not be a problem. But for those whose kidney function is already compromised by diabetes, these additives accumulate in the bloodstream. High phosphorus levels can lead to itchy skin, bone loss, and even damage to the heart and blood vessels. And worst of all, these additives are often hidden behind vague names on food labels, making them hard to avoid unless you know what to look for. There's also the issue of nitrates and nitrites, chemical preservatives that give processed meats their color and flavor. These compounds have been linked to increased inflammation, oxidative stress, and higher risks of chronic disease. For kidneys already struggling under the weight of elevated blood sugar and high blood pressure, that extra layer of chemical stress can be devastating. It's not just about what these meats do directly to your kidneys. It's how they amplify every other factor that's already working against you. The good news? You don't have to give up flavor to protect your kidneys. Consider switching to fresh, unprocessed protein sources like grilled chicken, turkey, or plant-based options like lentils and tofu. Season with herbs and spices instead of salt, and use natural marinades like lemon juice or garlic. If you do eat meat, Choose lean cuts and limit portion sizes. Your kidneys are fighting for you every day. Choosing to remove processed meats from your plate is one of the most powerful ways you can fight for them in return. Number 1. Pre-made seasonings and bouillon cubes, like Sazon, nor seasoning packets. They're small, colorful, and packed with flavor. Bouillon cubes, seasoning powders, and ready-made spice blends are often seen as simple kitchen helpers. A dash here, a sprinkle there, and suddenly your dish tastes amazing. But these tiny flavor bombs are some of the most dangerous ingredients you can add to your food, especially if you have diabetes and care about your kidney health. Hidden behind the delicious taste is a concentrated mix of sodium, artificial additives, and chemicals like monosodium glutamate, MSG, that can silently wreck your kidneys from the inside out. Just one bouillon cube can contain over 1,000 milligrams of sodium, nearly half of what an adult should consume in an entire day. Most people don't stop at one. When these cubes or powders are added to soups, stews, beans, or rice, the sodium content of the entire meal skyrockets. High sodium raises blood pressure, and for people with diabetes, that's a recipe for disaster. Damaged kidneys can't handle excess salt, and over time, the stress causes scarring inside the filtering system, leading to decreased function and, eventually, kidney failure. Beyond sodium, these seasonings often contain phosphate-based preservatives and MSG. Phosphates, like those found in processed meats, are quickly absorbed and become toxic when kidney function is compromised. MSG, while enhancing flavor, has been linked to increased insulin resistance and inflammation, two enemies of both diabetic and kidney health. It's a perfect storm. Flavor chemicals that make your food addictive while secretly making your organs work harder. And the worst part? These ingredients rarely get attention because they're hiding in the background of an otherwise healthy-looking meal. The problem is cultural as well as nutritional. Many families rely on these seasonings for traditional dishes, especially in Hispanic, Southern, and Caribbean cooking. Removing them can feel like erasing a part of your heritage. But there's a better way. Natural herbs and spices like garlic, onion, cilantro, thyme, turmeric, and black pepper can add rich, vibrant flavor without damaging your kidneys. Fresh ingredients not only protect your health, but also bring your food to life in a way that chemical seasonings simply can't match. It's time to rethink that final touch in your cooking. It might smell good and taste even better, but what it's doing to your kidneys is far from harmless. If you're living with diabetes, this small daily habit could be the silent force pushing your kidneys toward failure. The power is in your hands, literally. Every sprinkle is a choice. And choosing natural flavor over artificial shortcuts could be what keeps your kidneys working, your blood pressure stable, and your body strong for the years ahead. Your kidneys don't complain loudly. They don't ache like joints or tighten like a cramp. Instead, they whisper, quietly filtering, balancing, and supporting your body day after day. But when you live with diabetes, those whispers can turn into warnings if you're not careful. Every food you eat becomes a choice, to nourish or to harm. And the foods we cover today, they're often overlooked, underestimated, or misunderstood. That's what makes them so dangerous. Because what feels normal might actually be pushing you closer to chronic kidney disease without you even knowing it. The truth is, kidney damage doesn't happen overnight. It builds over time, from habits repeated every day. That slice of cheese, that salty cube, that bowl of white rice. Each one seems small, but together they form a pattern. The good news? Patterns can be changed. It's never too late to protect your kidneys and take control of your health. Even small changes, swapping processed meats for fresh proteins, drinking water instead of soda, using herbs instead of seasoning packets, can have a powerful impact on your future. You don't need a perfect diet. You need a smarter one. One where you understand the hidden dangers and make choices that support your kidneys, your blood sugar, and your energy. Every day is a new chance to feed your body what it truly needs, not just what your taste buds crave. The more you learn, the more power you have to heal. And that power doesn't disappear with age. In fact, wisdom makes it stronger. Your body has the potential to stabilize, recover, and thrive if you give it the right tools. If you've already been eating some of these harmful foods, don't panic. The purpose of this video isn't guilt, it's guidance. What matters now is what you do next. Begin with one change. Remove one hidden threat from your meals. Replace it with something nourishing. Then do it again tomorrow. Progress isn't about doing everything at once. It's about doing something every day. Your kidneys are resilient. They just need your help. So take this knowledge and turn it into action. Your kidneys have been fighting for you in silence for years. Now, it's time for you to fight for them. Protect them. Support them. And remember, health isn't just about living longer. It's about living better. You deserve that. And your kidneys do too.